Good evening and welcome to the Pastor's Roundtable. We have a special guest this evening, Missionary Mike Jones. He's the director of Drive-In Ministries, although most people that tune into the pregame show know him and know his ministry. But we've asked him to come on. Pastor wanted him to give a little bit of an update on Drive-In Ministries and some of the things that have been going on there, especially during this crazy time. The work doesn't stop. We have to just find new ways to do it. So if you'd give us a little update on Drive-In Ministries.
Be happy to do that. Of course, as you know, this virus is affecting all the world. Mm-hmm. And even though we're working in 11 other countries and counting besides the U.S., they are all affected in some way with this virus. And pretty much everybody is not allowed to come to gatherings, with the exception of maybe one or two countries that we're in. And so that's affecting them like it is us, so they're limited in some of the scope of what they can do and such, and that's understandable. Here, in our recent focus that we just put out, which is our quarterly paper, our quarterly newsletter of the whole ministry, I had a little article on the front called Silver Linings, and that was just a little bit of a reminder that even in hard times, God can bring something good. And he's actually done that in a couple of ways, especially just in these last 6-8 weeks we've been involved in the stay-at-home thing and all of this and no gatherings. And one of those was the big, large power poles for the lighting of the soccer field that were given to us by a foreman of the power company, one of the power companies here. He called during this time because it affected their schedule. They had a little downtime. And he called and said, hey, we'll come out and put those poles up for you. Wow. They've been laying on the ground for about 3 months waiting for the Lord to work this out for us because we couldn't afford to have somebody do that. And so he brought his crew out and his heavy equipment and one day, and they put all the poles up, set them in, and they look beautiful sitting out there. And so how unexpected that is, how God uses one thing to accomplish another. And then the second thing was, even though we couldn't have gatherings, let's say, out there because of the rules, we were still able to go and work every day. Because we couldn't have meetings and other things, it freed us to work more every day. So 5-6 days a week, we were working out at the property, and we're able to get to the point to have our final inspection and receive our occupancy for the public, which we've been aiming at now for almost 3 years. And so this now allows us, when the bans are lifted, to begin active ministry of several kinds. Our movie meetings at night we can do with our mobile units. We can do activities in the daytime. The soccer field is open. The pavilions are open. So we have much more availability and ready for ministry. So right now that's what we're doing. We're prepping equipment and plans and all to be ready to take off and go. But I tell you, one of the things about being an international ministry is reports you get from other countries regularly and such, and that's part of our partnership. And so it's been interesting to just get snippets and things from some of our other countries about how the virus is working in those places. You hear some things on the media, and some places you don't hear anything about what's going on in some of these other countries. But I'll tell you what, whatever we are going through here, pales in comparison to what most of these other countries are going through. One of our partners in India, he sent out his newsletter, and I'll just share a couple of things. He was just commenting on the conditions of the stay-at-home, all the things they have to do there. They're pretty well locked down, and not knowing what's going to happen and when things are going to change, same as we are. And he called it uncertainty at its best. He's like, how much more uncertain can you be? You don't even know when anything's going to change or how long it's going to take. He also commented on a couple other things. One of them was how God can use this in people's lives. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in our lesson in a little bit. But he said, I wonder where your thoughts are leading you to these days. Surely we're examining our faith. He says, crisis such as the one we're going through provides an opportunity to test the integrity of our faith. And referring a little bit about what we're going to talk about in our lesson tonight is, how do we respond when things like this happen? These kind of pressures and unusual things can really reveal where we are, not maybe where we think we are. And I really appreciated that. Then just close to home, Mexico. You say, well, Mexico's, you never know about Mexico. But anyway, our missionary there in Mexico said, I'm just going to read a little bit of it. He said, testing for the virus is almost non-existent in Mexico and definitely not free. Last we heard, the price was $350 US and up. And he said, that's too much wages here. He said, a hospital in Monterey was being set up for COVID-19 patients. The neighboring community was alarmed and tried to set fire to the hospital. Wow. So no matter what you think we're going through, you can't even imagine what these other countries are going through. Well, we have three partners in Nigeria, and when in asking about some things in Nigeria to one of our partners, he says, well, Nigeria doesn't know how to plan to prevent the virus. What they do is plan about how many burials they're going to have. Wow. So, that gives you a really different perspective about how things are and how they look. Mm-hmm. But God is working. God is working through this time, and I believe He's using the conditions, He's using the things that are going on to help people maybe look within as well as without. Mm-hmm. And we believe He's not only doing that, but He's also preparing people that when this is over, they're going to be more sensitive to the things of the Lord, the spiritual things, and we're trusting He's going to use drive-in in even greater ways, mm-hmm. both at home and abroad. And so we're just trusting for these things. We're excited to see what He's doing in the midst, and we're planning to be right on the ball when He's ready to go.
Amen.
So we're looking forward to that, and looking forward to tonight's message as well.
That's an encouraging update, and your attitude for it all is just a great testimony that many don't know what to do. They're scared. They're right. Terrified. But the Lord's still working through this. And from what I've heard, a lot of churches are seeing more and more people tune in that never had tuned in, never walked through their doors, right. Mm-hmm. Because they're curious. They want to know what is different about some of these people I see who they say they're Christians, and in this time they're handling themselves as if it doesn't matter, not right. that they're being careless, but that it's not fazing them is what it seems like. And so it's just amazing to see that with the live stream and different things, how the Lord is going to continue to work and work through this. So make sure you tune in here in about 9 minutes or so. Brother Mike Jones is going to give a Bible study. The teenagers should have the link for the Zoom meeting that I'm about to run off to. If you don't, message Erica or I, and we'll get that to you. And we'll see you in just a few minutes.